Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the second part of a video series I'm doing on the annuals and perennials that I put into this new landscape project that I've worked on during 2020. I put a lot of annuals into this backyard space. A lot of them I actually did from seed. The purpose of that was it was the first season that I was landscaping this space. I knew that the things I was putting in the ground, the more permanent things that I was putting in the ground would be small. It would not look like a very full space at all if I didn't add some faster growing, flowering things during the season. So there were a lot of annuals back here, and there are some perennials as well. A lot of things will come back next year. But I'm going to walk around and show you. A lot of this I did from seed. A lot of it was purchased. A lot of it is, some of it's perennial, some of it's annual, and some of the things I'll definitely repeat next year. Of course, I'm doing this video after I got like 2.5 inches of rain last night. That's the second time this has happened in a week, and it has beat things up quite a bit. This is September, and a lot of this stuff is starting to slow down. I did some videos on earlier in the season on all the container plants you're going to see, and I also did a video on plants to attract butterflies. And a lot of this stuff was in full bloom in those videos. And then some things have just flat out been taken out of the ground at this point that aren't in this video that were in previous videos earlier in the season. Okay, enough of that. This is ageratum right here that was done from seed right there. And you can see this is part shade over here. This is actually this is the south side of the house, but there's a red bud above my head that I've shown several times. And it's in the part shade, and this ageratum is done absolutely fantastic, and it has bloomed pretty much all season long. Like I say, those were done from seed. This salvia right here, I got lots of salvia in the backyard. This is Victoria Blue right here. You can see the rain beat it up last night. It'll be standing back up in a little while. Pollinators absolutely love this. Victoria Blue you can typically find in a cell pack, and get them in either 4 or 6 in the spring, and these will just bloom like this all season long. Another thing that I did from seed over here, got a bloom on my jubilation gardenia right there, which isn't part of this video, but there's a flower on the gardenia. These are straw flowers right here. Super interesting. This has been just one of my favorite things to watch in the yard this year. They're so unique, but they're see how leggy it is. It definitely needs to go in more sun. If I do these straw flowers again next year, they will be out in the front yard in the full sun space, and I think that will keep them more compact. And again, those were done from seed. This containers right here have some coleus, and there's an Everillo Carex right there that I use that plant quite a bit, and you'll see it in landscape jobs. I did a tour video that's going up toward the end of next week. It's got a lot of Everillo Carex in it. There's a begonia right there. I got begonias in several places in the yard. And the hosta, all the hosta, of course, it's September, so they're starting to look kind of rough. There's another Carex here with a variegation right there in the back of that container. The colors in these are a bit busy, honestly. That coleus, I did these coleus from seed, and when I planted them into the pots, I didn't necessarily know the final, how colorful they were actually going to be. Let's see. Here's another one of those straw flowers, so you can get a good look at that. If it'll focus on it. There you go, right there. That thing is so they're so unique. Right here at the steps, this entrance to the screen porch, there's some New Guinea impatiens here. These have done fantastic. Really kind of industrial annuals, really. This spot right here gets full sun from maybe 11 o'clock until about 1:30 every day. The rest of the time it's the porch shades it early in the morning. This is in this container right here. This is Perennial. These are done. These are ready to be disposed of at this point, but I leave them here because the hummingbirds absolutely love these flowers, what's left of them. But this was and I've got in other videos previously during the season, this was just basically a solid purple container for most of the summer, but they have definitely in decline here in September. These pots here for lettuce plants that I've got in the house. They've got a mint here. It's not quite in enough sun to keep it full, but it is growing enough to use. definitely want to do your mint in containers. Otherwise, they're super invasive. I don't want that thing anywhere near the soil here, because if it starts growing in the soil, it can take off pretty quick. Be very hard to control. This container right here, this is a Persian shield. Everybody that sees this wants to know what that is. When it shows up in other videos, it's got a spike in that container. There's a polka dot plant right there. If it'll focus on it, I've got some better ones in another container I'll show you in a minute. And then here's a dark foliage potato vine right there. Some more of those New Guinea impatiens, not quite as big as the ones on the other side. Some more coleus that was done from seed that really looks very good in that space. And then in this container with this windmill palm, these begonias have absolutely loved it. Begonias are so adaptable during the summer and just super low maintenance. Literally nothing has been done to those begonias in that container. So I did the north side on the north side of the screen porch, and came across the steps. Came across the steps right there, and showed you the begonias with the windmill palm. This is a variegated lavender that's in this container right here. I've probably kept it a little bit too wet during the season. Lavender definitely likes to be on the dry side. These are celosia that I did from seed, and I probably wouldn't do this color again. They've been very vigorous. Of course, the bees absolutely love them, and all kinds of pollinators on them all the time, but I don't know that I'd do that color again. It doesn't really stand out all that much. This is a sunshine ligustrum. I covered all the shrubs in a set of 3 videos last week, if you want to go back and watch those. This is leucanthemum right here, super hardy. They will, they're on their way to, they'll be on their way to sleep here in the next 6 or 8 weeks, and they'll be gigantic when they come back out next year. Beautiful white fluffy flowers on those leucanthemum. And there's some more of that Victoria blue salvia here. Some cosmos that are just recently planted from seed. Fall is a great time. In the late summer, early fall, you can do cosmos and zinnias, a second round from seed, and these will bloom, well into the fall, and until I get a hard freeze. Really, there's more of that plectranthus back here that I showed from the front yard, and these are starting to show some real color. And I think during the fall, these are just going to be solid purple. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see that. I'm going to skip across this path. Tomatoes are almost finished here for the season, but I've got 50 tomato plants over here on these stakes, and I'm still picking more than I could ever eat. But a reason I actually brought you over here for these dahlias right here that were done from seed. There's lots of different ones here that I'll show you as I move across to some other sections. This frost protection blanket that I've got right there is on top of some broccoli and some other brassicas. I'm just trying to prevent the cabbage worms from getting on them early in the season. Moving across here, there's more of these dahlias that I did from seed, and now they're 4 feet tall, and they've been cut back several times. Rain did them no favors last night. Let me pull another one up right here. Just really beautiful. And so the dahlias from seed were definitely a winner. I think I started these sometime in mid-March. So I'm going to show you a few containers that I'm actually about to flip out to fall color, because they're kind of getting tired at this point. There's a purple heart in there. This is a penta. Pentas are great for pollinators during the season, but it's kind of tired at this point. This euphorbia right here has just been blooming like that the entire summer. Super easy. I showed the red diplodenia in the front yard. This one is obviously pink and has bloomed like mad all summer long. I'm going to try to keep that one through the winter and overwinter it on the back porch. Nights that are below freezing, I'll actually bring it into the house, but I'm definitely going to keep that one, put it in a slightly larger pot next year. But again, it has slowed down, but it's still showing quite a bit of color. On the shop right here, I did these containers really late in the season, but there's a rosemary in the center, and then 2 pink begonias. And then there's actually a couple sedum, variegated sedum that are in that container right there. Moving over to this pot, there's a couple more Diplodenia in here. Another one of those polka dot plants right there. There's some blue lobelia still blooming pretty heavily right there. And then this is a cordyline, that grass looking plant right there. If I move around, I put one more rosemary on the corner there. Of course, they're just evergreen shrubs in my area. Really don't even need to be part of this video. This container that's on the north side of the shop right here has the asparagus fern in the corner, which has been quite happy. More of the pink begonias, the polka dot plant right there, and then some creeping jenny right here coming over the edge, which it's hardy. It can stay in that container over the winter, but I'm going to probably pull these begonias out in the next few weeks, because right about the time we get a frost, and replace them with something for the fall. Probably pansies will go into that container for the winter. If I drop down right here below my feet, there's this beautiful Farfugium, which has grown quite a bit this year. This area back here along the back of the lot is mostly shady, so the things that are in this little strip right here on the west side, which is normally people's hot side of their house, this area is actually shady for me. So I started on the south side over here, which actually ends up a bit shady for me because it had red bud, and then slid across the porch right here, heading toward the north. This north side over here in the summertime is actually the sunny space in this yard. It absolutely cooks over there. That's why the tomatoes are over there, and the dahlias and a lot of the full sun perennials. I don't know if you can see that. Hummingbird straight ahead in front of me. I'm going to see how close he'll let me get. Oh, he just flew away. I don't know if you guys could see that or not, but I'm going to start in this bed right here. This is a mostly sunny space till later in the day, somewhere right around where that container is for that Japanese maple. It's definitely shady from there back. This salvia right here is called Saucy Red. I've got one called Saucy Wine. You'll see in a minute. This thing has been, this is a slow version of what it's done all season long. It's definitely starting to slow down, but it has been pretty much non-stop. Hummingbird, as you saw, came to it right here as I started talking about it. These are celosia that I did from seed, and I definitely like this color. If I'm going to do celosia from seed, I'm going to go for something bright rather than those kind of muted salmon ones that were on the other side over there. Did these big giant marigolds from seed. They're going to come out as soon as I finish shooting this video. There's a few here that still look pretty good. I'll get a close-up of those in a second. I've got the butterfly weed right here that's been in bloom for several weeks. A rabbit just ran right out of this space. He's been eating on these marigolds. People put marigolds in to prevent rabbits and deer. I got a rabbit in here that eats marigolds, so figure that one out. I've had had butterflies around it, and had monarchs around it for a couple weeks now, but I still don't see any caterpillars on it, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if something's eating the eggs as she's laying them. There's another one right here that also has some, that's been flowering here. So, the pollinators are visiting the flowers, but like I say, I haven't seen any caterpillars on them yet. This is the first year these have been in the ground. There's some zinnias here that were just done from seed. These will be in full bloom in the next week or two. I've done these in several spots in the yard trying to get some fall color. They'll bloom right up through, really through the first frost in all likelihood. There are peonies here. They're in the process of going to sleep. I did a video early in the season dividing these from other areas in the yard, but this is pretty typical of what a peony looks like in September as they're about to go to sleep. A little further around this side, here's another Perennia. You saw the purple Perennia in the container behind the door. This is a different color one. And again, it's slowing down, but the pollinators absolutely love them, especially the hummingbirds. Hummingbirds really go crazy for that. Big group of impatiens here on both sides of this Japanese maple. These have bloomed like crazy. Rain beat them up a little bit last night, and then some coleus that were done from seed earlier in the season. I'll get a little closer to these marigolds. You can see kind of how big they are. These are small compared to what it had on it earlier in the season. These doubles, and I've said this in a couple of videos, the bees seem to really struggle to get in there. They're trying, but that fluffy double flower makes it much harder for them to get into, but the flowers are super showy. There are a couple lantana in here, and I mentioned in the first video that I moved the yellow one out to the front, the new gold, because it wasn't blooming all that well. This should really be in full-on bloom right now, and it's just, I think the shade is taking it just a little early in the afternoon. It's got flowers on it, but not like it should. And then there's another one right here. Same thing. Plant looks great. It is flowering, but it should be absolutely covered in flowers, and so I think that's what's going on. That's what's going on there. Coming back out of this space, there are more zinnias again that were done from seed. Right here, this is a Verbena bonariensis. Right here again, pollinators absolutely love this plant, and this is a good perennial to put in to attract goldfinches as well. So I'll finish up this backyard video with the things that are on the west side of the back lawn here. I just showed that Verbena bonariensis right there. There's some of those Everillo carex in there. You can see just how bright those actually are, and sitting next to that saucy red salvia, they look great. And then there's a purple foliage loropetalum there that looks great with them as well. This salvia right here is called Teresa. This will be a perennial one, small leaves, bloomed all summer long. It's starting to slow down. The annual salvias, this is an annual right here, this white one, still going strong here into the late summer, early fall. This is an indigo frost agapanthus. Agapanthus, generally speaking, is done blooming by now, even these new ones that repeat bloom, but this one still has a flower on it. That was what the hummingbird was interested in that you saw a couple minutes ago. And going across here, these are zinnias. For some reason, my orange zinnias definitely won out in this mix that was put in here, but I've got a whole new group of them coming up. These older ones right here are going to get torn out here in the next week or so when these new ones start to bloom, but they're blended in all over the place. I just came right back in and planted new ones in the old area. I covered this butterfly bush in the shrub video, but some people, I guess, would probably consider these perennial, since we typically will cut them down pretty low in the late winter. This salvia right here is called Saucy Wine, but you can see the color on it, really great. Again, I've just loved to watch the birds and the butterflies, and I mean the bees and the butterflies and the hummingbirds on these salvia. It seems to be really the main draw in any mix. And here's some zinnias that are coming. The flowers will be much bigger than that one as the plants mature, but again, I've just planted them all over the place so to have good color this fall. This is that hibiscus that I showed in the container in the front yard. The rain last night knocked a bunch of it around, so I had to cut it back a little bit. Doesn't seem to matter. I've taken literally wheelbarrows full of cuttings off of these things, and they just come right back. Here's some more annual salvia in this space, which has been great for the pollinators all season. And then I've got more agapanthus varieties here. These bloomed pretty much all summer long, and these aren't throwing up any more flowers like that indigo frost is, but they'll bloom all next summer. I'm in zone 7B. Some of these agapanthus are only hardy into zone 8, but again, having it spring planted, have the fact that I'm in kind of an urban area, lots of it's a concrete and asphalt jungle. I don't think that I'll have any problem with these zone 8 perennials coming back in my area. So the last perennial I'll finish up with here is this rhythm and blues salvia that's on the backside of these. In the future, this thing's going to get 4 or 5 feet tall. One of these years, this first year it only grew to about 2 or 3 feet, but it's behind these hibiscus here. Next year it'll be taller than what these hibiscus have have gotten to. This is a beautiful one. It's got a black calyx, which holds the purple flower. Really beautiful. There's one called black and blue that's very similar to this. Lots of varieties that have a similar really dark calyx, and then you know, some sort of brighter flower color. Again, you know, the front yard and the backyard, you can see why I have so many salvia and agastache are right at the top of the list for drawing pollinators in. You do need host plants for them. Things like you know, the butterfly weed that I showed you. Coneflowers work for that. Black-eyed Susans work for that. There's a lot of native flowering perennials that are great host plants. You may want to Google that at some point. I'll do a video at some point on the plants you need to have in order to not only feed the butterflies, but also have a host plant for their caterpillars as well. So this is what's left. It's, you know, it's early September. I've had a couple rains beat some things up. I'm in the process of starting to tear out some summer things that are right at their end, redo some pots, and prepare for fall. And I'll put those videos up when I'm working on that. Thanks for watching.